Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for swinging by. I sure do appreciate it. If this is your first time with the channel, my name is Mark.
Oh, hi Mark.
Welcome to Fit and Fire. Let's get into this video. This time we're going to be talking about PDWs, and while there are tons of different flavors, whether it be like a Flux Raider all the way to say like the P90 MP7 type of PDW, there's a whole bunch of different variations. For me, I'm going to stick with pistol calibers, and I know that a lot of people will refer to them as pistol caliber carbines or pistol caliber pistols or PDWs or subguns. We're going to use all of those terms interchangeably because we're going to be talking about the SP9 A3 Stribog from Grand Power. Now, full disclosure before we get into this video any further is this was sent to me by Global Ordnance, and I'm not getting paid to say anything good, bad, or indifferent. I'm going to talk about the good, going to talk about the bad, and let you decide whether or not this is going to be right for you. Now, when it comes to PDWs, I would say that I'm a little deficient. I've done a few reviews on like the SIG, I think it's the MPX, way back in like 2019. And you know, that was okay. A lot of people really like them. I was like, I didn't really see the lure to it, I guess. I've also looked at a Scorpion, but I've never done a full review on that. Scorpions will be coming to kind of compare with this and some of the other ones that I have in my collection so far. And essentially, I want to try to find something that's going to be right for me. Now, what's right for me may not be right for you, but at the end of the day, I'm going to give you my thoughts and let you guys decide what you think from there. So anyway, the SP9 series of PDWs, I would say probably doesn't have the best like track record. Starting off with the SP9A1, there was a lot of, seemingly a lot of issues with magazines. I've talked to the team over at Global Ordnance, and they're like, realistically, that wasn't an issue. It was an issue, but it wasn't as big of an issue as a lot of people thought about it. The SP9A1 was just a straight up blowback system. This is going to be a roller delayed system, and it does it a little differently than say like an MP5, or what we would think an MP5 roller delayed system would look like. And I'll show you that here in just a second. But moving forward, I know that once they introduced the A3, some people like GB Guns had very little issue with this. I know that he ran into a couple of different ammunition types that just didn't feed very well, which is understandable. But at the same time, you had people like Gun Thoughts. They had a terrible time with theirs. Of course, that was 3 years ago, and I feel as if things have changed since then. So we're going to give you my initial thoughts on the first 200 rounds of this. Naturally, we're going to continue to put rounds through it and compare it against other PDW style firearms, but essentially, long story short, I have had zero issues with mine. I have really, really enjoyed shooting this. It's a lot of fun. That roller delayed system gives you a little bit of a different recoil impulse that makes it enjoyable to shoot for a lot of different people too. It's very, very easy to shoot one-handed. If you want to shoot from the brace's collapsed position, you can do that as well. But at the end of the day, this is a pretty decent PDW. Now, Is that to say that all of the issues that they've had in the past is now corrected? I really can't tell you. Obviously, I only have a sample size of one. I hate saying that, but that's the way it is, and I've enjoyed it so far. So let's talk about some of the issues that Gun Thoughts have had and what I've experienced since then. First and foremost was the magazines. Their magazines did not have the metal reinforced feed lips. Mine don't either. They said that they ran into an issue where the bolt hold open catch on the magazine broke and fell inside the magazine. They could rattle it around and stuff like that. I've ran the 3 magazines that come with this and I've had 0 issues. Naturally, I've only put 200 rounds through it. I've probably ran each one of the magazines through this, you know, a couple times each on average. So, you know, maybe they'll break in the future. I don't know. But as it stands right now, these magazines are really, really nice. Standard capacity, the smoke versions of these look really, really nice. And I really like the aesthetic of that curved look to it, right? So the stick mags, they're fine. That's what they were using, but at the end of the day, so far so good on the magazine. The next thing was they did not particularly care for the trigger on this. So let's take a look at the trigger real quick. Here is your take up. There's really no take up right there, and then you can break it over. It's about a 6.5 pound break. Reset is right there, pretty short, tactile. And it's not necessarily the world's best trigger out there, but at the end of the day, I think probably from what it was several years ago, I think it has improved. Do I know that for sure? No, I can't tell you that for sure. What I can tell you is there are companies out there that do offer a new grip module for you to swap out. And for some people, that might be something to invest the extra money in, because you can get different grip angles, you can get a different type of grip, you can change out the triggers as well. So there are a couple of different reasons why you might want to look into upgrading that. But at the end of the day, right out of the box, from my perspective, I don't find that this trigger is awful. It could be better, it could be a little lighter, but at the end of the day, while I was shooting it, I didn't really find it to be that big of a deal. The next thing that Gun Thoughts really had issues with was it's cycling through different types of ammunition. Now, I didn't have a lot of different types of ammunition to look at, but what I can tell you is I ran steel case Tula, I ran Max Tech 115 grain, which is like bargain barrel cheap ammunition. And I also ran 2 different types of Hornady personal defense, just standard Hornady XTPs and then Hornady Black XTP to look at accuracy as well. And I can tell you that it ran everything just fine. I've had 0 failures to feed, fire, or eject from this in the first 200 rounds. So that is, I would say, a good thing, right? Got some steel case stuff here, along with some personal defense round. These are Hornady XTPs. I think they're 124 grain. And then just standard Tula 115 grain. So, see how well they do. Lock it back. Make sure it feeds the first. Yep, no problem. Red dot's not zeroed, so we'll see what happens here. Seems to be pretty zeroed. Yeah, not too bad. A little high. And locked open, so no issues there. Is this one that had been cherry picked for a reviewer? Possibly, but at the end of the day, I have a pretty good working relationship with the team over at Global Ordnance, and I feel that they don't necessarily do that. They just pull one right off of the shelf and just send it to me. So there's that. One of the reasons why there may have been issues with running certain types of ammunition through the first iteration of the SP9A3 was the fact that the firearm was built in Slovakia, and they are accustomed to running 124 grain NATO spec ammunition. So that's going to be a little hotter than what we have here in the United States. We have some pretty soft shooting 9mm, and some people would say we have a lot of garbage 9mm as well. So one of the things that they have done is they have swapped out the bolt carrier and have put a US marking on it to identify the ones that were meant for Europe versus the ones that are meant for the United States. And the ones that have the US marking on it will run multiple different types of ammunition, which is exactly what I have found. So let's talk about accuracy. The accuracy on this is from 50 yards, I would say minute and man. You know, there's no easy way to say it. The groups were about 6 inches at 50 yards or even larger. As you can see in the video here, I did run 5 rounds of Max Tech 115 grain, and it was just standard ball. And again, that is very, very inexpensive 9mm ammunition. And then I ran 5 rounds of the Hornady Black XTP 115 grain as well, and found that both of those ran okay. You know, I mean, they ran fine. The accuracy, rather, was okay. At 50 yards, you're going to hit your target, especially if you're, you know, slowing down just a little bit to make sure that you got a good sight picture sight alignment and trigger squeeze, breathing control, all that type of stuff. You're going to hit your target. So let's talk about the cons that I have with this. And to be honest with you, I don't have too many. Some personal preference issues, but let's get into it. The first thing is going to be the safety selector. Very custom to like an AR-15 style safety selector. It's going to be right there, but if you watch my finger, my index finger is kind of out of the way of the trigger guard. It's sitting on the magazine release, and if you watch as I swipe the trigger or the safety lever here, you'll see that it pushed my hand down, and that's something that is it's just kind of a nuisance. So as you're bringing this up, it's going to push your finger out of the way and could interrupt your ability to get onto the trigger to get those first rounds on target. So I would love to see maybe a truncated safety selector here on future versions. That would be nice, or just maybe even just get rid of it altogether. For those who are left-handed, figure out a way to do a reversible one, I guess. But at the end of the day, I really don't need this over here. That's just personal preference. If you're left-handed, again, I can understand why. Now, the camera guy, Hefe, he said that it didn't really bother him, and he's left-handed, so take that for what you will. The roller delayed system is, like I said, different than the MP5, whereas the MP5 is going to be a roller delayed system in line with the bolt. This is going to have a roller delayed system that is above the bolt, and that could cause muzzle rise for individuals shooting like 124 grain, 147 grain, or even heavier bullets. Because of all of that mass being pushed up and then back, you might find that this is going to rock and have some muzzle rise. Now, I was only shooting 115 grain stuff through the first 200 rounds, and I didn't really notice that too much. I did a little bit, but as you get into those heavier bullets, that might be an issue for you. As you can see here on the side, I do have a Streamlight ProTac mounted on here, and you know, it's set up just fine. I don't really have too many major complaints about it, but what I will say is if you're going to use this rear M-lock section, you're going to have to make sure that that M-lock bolt is going to be forward in that slit, because as you get further back, you're going to have your barrel nut that is going to impede your M-lock locking nut. So make sure that you're using the smallest M-lock Picatinny section that you can and pushing it forward. That was something that I was a little disappointed in, because I do have longer sections, but at the end of the day, easy fix. There's also extensions that you can purchase as well. You can also get set up with like muzzle brakes or extensions that would like cover a suppressor if you want to run this suppressed. So there's that. The iron sights on this are, you know, they're okay. They're polymer, and I don't have any major concerns with it. What I do like is the fact that you can flip them up to use the peep style sights, or that you can keep them down and you can run the notch that they have. They're not going to be something that you're going to be consistent in hitting 50-yard targets with, but they'll do the job up close and personal. However, if you're going to put like a tape switch on this, you're not going to be able to use them, so keep that in mind. Outside of that, I have really enjoyed this PDW style setup. This would be great for a backpack style firearm, you know, or you know, just keeping it in the truck with you as you are traveling or out, you know, handling stuff on your land, your property, whatever the case may be, or in certain instances where you are in an urban environment and you have an apartment, this might be a consideration. A lot of people don't like 9mm because they feel that it's going to carry a lot more energy through walls and stuff like that. But if you're utilizing fragmentation rounds or even personal defense rounds, a lot of that concern is kind of internet folklore, you know. Obviously, understand your target. Obviously, make sure that you are following the 4 safety rules of, you know, knowing what your target is and what's behind it, so on and so forth. So, but this is an option for home defense, and I know that there are a lot of people, a lot of my friends are turning to PDW style firearms for a number of different reasons. So there you have it. Tell me what you guys think about the Stribog. I really like this. Is it my favorite? I don't know yet. I've got a couple of different ones we're going to review over the coming weeks, and we'll check in on the other ones that I have. I'm going to be looking at the Beretta PMX S, going to be looking at the Zenith ZF5 MP clone, MP5 clone rather. I'm going to see if I can get my hands on a Scorpion to actually do a full review on one of those. And then I have a budget option that came in from GeForce. So we're going to be looking at a number of different of the PDW style firearms, and see what we can figure out from there. Maybe even see if I can get a Flux Raider or something like that. With all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I really do appreciate everybody supporting the channel, not only through subscribing, and if you haven't already and you think that I've earned it, I'd appreciate that, but also the likes and the comments and obviously the shares as well. In addition to that, I have a 15% discount code for Vertex. I'll leave that in the pinned comment, so if you guys are interested in supporting the channel and picking up some stuff from Vertex, it's what I really like. I'm wearing their jeans right now. Not that you can see, but at the end of the day, I really do like their stuff and appreciate them supporting the channel with a discount code. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. As always, freedom through strength. Here comes a high five. Catch you guys later. Bye, y'all.